Hi there! It's Lety, and welcome to Lety's English Podcast. This is the space where we learn and grow together through stories and gentle reflections. I am so happy you are here with me today. Today we will talk about something simple and yet endlessly complicated. We will talk about happiness. That quiet and stubborn word we all chase in different ways, sometimes loudly with ambition, sometimes quietly with secret dreams, sometimes desperately, and sometimes without even noticing. Everywhere we look, happiness is being packaged and sold to us. Social media is full of shiny formulas that promise joy if only we copy them. You have probably seen the 5A. And miracle morning routines, the alarm rings before sunrise. The person leaps out of bed glowing as if they slept in heaven itself. They run 10 kilometers. They make a smoothie with kale and matcha and chia seeds and fruits you cannot even pronounce. They do yoga in front of wide windows with golden sunlight streaming in. They meditate to the sound of birds and gentle wind. Then they journal and begin working before most of us have even brushed our teeth. And there, you are still lying in bed with messy hair, scrolling your phone, maybe feeling guilty because you have not even moved yet. You wonder, how are they living so perfectly while I am barely surviving? I used to believe if I copied them, maybe I would finally be happy, so I tried. I woke up at 5. I meditated, I exercised, I journaled. I followed the checklist like a script. At first, it felt exciting, like an adventure, but then it turned into a trap. Each morning became a test. If I missed one habit, I felt the day was ruined. If I failed to tick one box, I felt like a failure. Instead of joy, I found stress. Instead of calm, I found guilt. And then I realized something. Happiness is not a checklist. Happiness is not a video. Happiness is not a performance. Happiness is a decision made quietly and daily, not a destination you arrive at someday, not a prize you win when you finally complete all the steps. It is a choice, a rhythm, a practice. Mo Goddard once said happiness is the absence of unhappiness. At first that sounded too simple, but then I understood. Instead of endlessly adding new habits and rules, what if I simply removed what hurt me? I turned off notifications that drained me. I allowed myself to rest when I was tired. I said no to invitations that overwhelmed me. I unfollowed accounts that made me feel small. Slowly peace returned. Small joys became visible again. A warm cup of tea. A conversation without distraction. A walk that was not photographed but simply lived. But if happiness is so simple, why do we struggle so much? Maybe because we misunderstand. It may be because we think it is always in the future. When we make more money, when we find the right partner, when we buy the dream car or phone. Science tells us only 10% of happiness comes from circumstances. 50% is our genetic set point, but 40% comes from intentional actions. And that is the part we control. This is powerful. It means nearly half of our happiness depends on the way we think and act every single day. Happier. People are healthier. They sleep better. Their immune systems are stronger. They recover faster. Happier people are more creative, more generous, more connected. Happiness spreads like sunlight. Your smile can lift a whole room. So how do we practice happiness in real life? Not in a shiny video, but in grounded daily ways. Imagine happiness like a house with 5 pillars: body, mind, perspective, relationships, and environment. The body is the foundation. Without sleep and movement and food, we cannot stand strong. Sleep 7 to 8 hours if you can. Move daily, even 10 minutes is enough. Eat real food. Rest when you need to. Play music that lifts you. Even a short walk can be instant medicine. The mind is the second pillar. If we do not guide it, the mind wastes energy on worries and comparisons, but we can train it with mindfulness and breath. Just a few minutes of calm breathing. Each morning can change the rhythm of your whole day. Remember, thoughts are not facts. You do not have to believe every story your mind tells you. The third pillar is perspective. Two people can face the same event and feel completely different. The difference is the lens they use. Gratitude shifts that lens. Optimism shifts it. Even body language shifts it. Viktor Frankl survived suffering by holding on to hope and meaning. That perspective kept him alive. The fourth pillar is relationships. We are not meant to live alone. The longest Harvard study proves that good relationships keep us happier and healthier for longer. It is not about quantity. It is about depth. A sincere connection nourishes more than 1,000 likes on social media. Call a friend, share a meal, give a compliment. Joy multiplies when shared. The fifth pillar is environment. A tidy space calms the mind. Nature lowers stress and restores. U.S. Spending on experiences creates more lasting joy than spending on objects. A new phone excites for a week, but a trip with friends becomes a story for life. When you nurture all 5 pillars together, your life feels steady. Happiness becomes less fragile. Storms will still come, but your house will stand strong. Storms will always come. Life will never be a straight road. So the real question is not whether we can avoid difficulty, but how we respond. When it arrives, this is where philosophy becomes a guide. Especially Stoicism. Stoicism is not about being cold or unemotional. It is about clarity. It is about distinguishing between what you can control and what you cannot. You cannot control the weather. You cannot control traffic. You cannot control what others think of you, but you can control your response. That is the key. Imagine you are late because of traffic. You can waste energy on anger, or you can breathe and use the time to listen to a podcast or prepare your thoughts. This choice is freedom. Stoicism also reminds us to live with virtue, with courage to speak, wisdom, and self-control, courage to speak when something is wrong, justice to treat people fairly, wisdom to pause before judging, self-control to delay a reaction until it is thoughtful. These are timeless tools for a modern life. Now let us look at some mistakes we often make. When chasing happiness, the first mistake is copying someone else's routine. Just because waking up at 5 works for them does not mean it will work for you. Happiness is personal. Experiment, test, keep what works, and let go of what does not. The second mistake is expecting instant results. Happiness is not fast food. It is a garden. It requires planting, watering, and waiting. You will not feel different after one night of journaling or one walk in the park, but after weeks and months, these seeds grow quietly until one day you notice the garden has bloomed. The third mistake is isolating yourself. Self-care is good, but we are social beings. Connection is not optional. Loneliness eats away at joy like rust. One real conversation or one shared meal can bring more light than hours alone scrolling your phone. So, what is the conclusion? Happiness is not a shiny video. It is not a checklist or a distant future. Happiness is a rhythm you create for yourself each day. It is the way you look at life, the way you treat yourself, the way you treat others, and you can start small right now. Turn off one notification, take one short, walk in sunlight, call one friend and ask how they are. These choices may look ordinary, but they are the true architecture of joy. I want to share a few real stories to make this more alive. A friend of mine named Mai was always exhausted from chasing online productivity trends. One day she decided to stop copying and instead wrote down one small thing she was proud of each day. After a month, she had 30 notes of self-recognition. Slowly, her energy returned. She began sleeping better and even started taking a class she'd always wanted. Her joy was not spectacular, but it was steady. Another friend named Daniel had a habit of answering every message instantly. He felt valuable when he was always available, but he was burning out. One week he tried a new rule. No instant replies unless urgent. He discovered almost. Nothing required a reaction in seconds. With that space, he began writing again. Stories poured out of him and his creativity came back to life. Once in Kyoto, I met an older man who taught me the beauty of ritual. Each morning he brewed tea carefully, walked to a small temple, and sat for a few minutes watching the sunrise. His life was not glamorous, but it was grounded and full of meaning. That ordinary rhythm was his happiness. Across cultures, we see different names for the same truth. In Japan, they call it ikigai, the reason for being. In Korea, many families find strength in education and rituals of togetherness. In Scandinavia, people practice hygge, the art of coziness and simple pleasure. These traditions remind us that happiness is not one formula. It adapts to culture, personality, and values. What matters is that it feels authentic to you. Now, let me give you a gentle practice you can try. A 21-day journey of small actions. Day 1, recall one memory that makes you smile and write it down. Day 2, perform one act of kindness for a stranger. Day 3, move your body outdoors for at least 10 minutes. Day 4, list 3 things you are grateful for before sleep. Day 5, say no to one thing that drains you. Day 6, call someone you care about and really listen. Day 7, create a small ritual of beauty like lighting a candle at dinner. Day 8, breathe slowly for 5 minutes before starting work. Day 9, write down one new lesson about yourself. Day 10, sing or dance without shame. Day 11, spend time in nature. Day 12, prepare a simple, healthy meal. Day 13, delete one notification from your phone. Day 14, reflect on a challenge you overcame and what it taught you. Day 15, compliment someone sincerely. Day 16, read for 15 minutes for pure pleasure. Day 17, tidy one small corner of your home. Day 18, go to bed 30 minutes earlier. Day 19, walk a new route and notice something unfamiliar. Day 20, send gratitude to someone who helped you. Day 21, review your list and choose 3 habits to keep forever. None of these steps will make you famous. None will appear glamorous on Instagram. But together they create a rhythm that sustains joy. Let us be honest, happiness is never constant. It rises and falls like the tide. There are days when you feel light and days when you feel heavy. And that is not failure. That is simply being human. The art is not to freeze joy in place, but to return to it again and again. Sometimes happiness grows quietly inside grief. You can hold sorrow and gratitude in the same day. You can mourn and still notice the beauty of sunlight on the wall. That complexity is not a betrayal of joy, but a deeper form of it. When you stop demanding constant positivity, you allow real happiness to visit with honesty. There are also myths. We must let go of myth 1, that happiness requires constant productivity. Rest is not laziness. Rest is repair. Productivity without soul is just motion without meaning. Myth 2. That happiness is a destination after success. If you postpone joy until you achieve the perfect future, you will never allow yourself to feel alive in the present. Myth 3. That everything must be perfect before you begin. Perfectionism delays happiness forever. Start where you are with what you have. Comparison is another thief. Social media trains us to compare highlight reels to our behind the scenes. Protect your mind by curating your environment. Unfollow accounts that make you feel smaller. Follow ones that lift you up or teach you something real. Choose carefully what voices you allow into your inner space. When heaviness comes, remember a simple blueprint. First, check your basics. Are you sleeping? Are you eating? Have you moved your body? Next, slow your breath for 3 minutes. Then reach out to one trusted person. Do one small act of kindness for yourself, and if the heaviness lingers, seek professional help without shame. Your life matters, and asking for support is a form of strength. Purpose also nourishes happiness. Purpose does not have to be huge. It can be tending a plant, being a caring friend, teaching a neighbor, creating small beauty in the world. Meaning comes from action, not only from reflection. When you connect to something larger than yourself, you feel steadier. Before we close, I want to give you a short exercise you can use anytime. Breathe in for 4 seconds. Hold for 2 seconds. Breathe out for 6 seconds. Repeat 3 times. Repeat 3 times. Now name one thing you are grateful for right now. Hold that thought for 10 seconds. This tiny practice shifts your nervous system. It reminds you that joy can arrive in simple breaths. Let me share a final story. I once visited a small coastal town where fishermen rose early each day. They brewed coffee slowly. On the dock, they spoke with neighbors. They shared their catch after storms. Their lives were not glamorous, but they had rhythm and connection. Their happiness was not a trophy to win, but a shared table to sit at, watching. Them, I learned that happiness is not a performance. It is presence. It is showing up for each other in ordinary ways. So my dear listener, here is my invitation to you. Choose one small action today. Maybe breathe slowly. Maybe eat one meal without a phone. Maybe call a friend and listen. Do it not as a performance, but as a gift to yourself. Small acts compound into steady joy. Remember, happiness is not the absence of problems, but the presence of meaning. Happiness is not about waiting for storms to end, but learning how to dance in the rain. Happiness is not something far away, but something already within your reach. Thank you for sharing this long journey with me. Thank you for giving your time and your heart. I hope these words land like a gentle hand on your shoulder, reminding you that you do not have to chase impossible checklists. You only need to choose again and again the small things that keep you alive and kind. This has been Lety on Lety's English podcast. Until next time, take care. Be gentle with yourself and keep learning.